Fox News Alert, more bad news for Democrats. The Supreme Court rejecting a Democratic bid to revive their gerrymandered map in Virginia. And if that wasn't bad enough for the left, President Trump just deployed the A-team to get Republican candidates over the finish line. And there might be no bigger name leading the push than my next guest, White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair. Now, Politico said this, quote, "Few people will matter more in Washington this year than James Blair. He is the architect behind the redistricting battle. And if the midterms play out the same way that did, Republicans are in good shape. Look at the map. They could potentially gain as many as 17 seats. Meanwhile, as we just told you, Democrats just blew $64 million, some say over $80 million, only to walk away empty-handed. And if that doesn't worry Democrats, Republicans have a huge cash advantage with nearly $850 million in the bank. Joining me now on this, White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair. Thank you for doing this. I know you just got back from China with the president, so we appreciate it. Where do you think these redistricting wins place Republicans as we head into the midterms?
Well, I think they put us much closer to being able to retain the House. And it's really important to know what the history is here. These are seats that Republicans are rightly due. If you go back to the 2020 census, there was a lot of litigation that resulted in the Biden administration being able to apportion the count that was collected before President Trump took office the last time. And the Biden administration introduced new novel statistical methods, which there's been a lot of litigation around, that resulted in Republican states losing a bunch of seats that they were due based on population. And you don't have to take my word for it. The Census Bureau came out in 2022 and said they made that error. 100% of the undercounting was in Republican states, and 100% of the overcounting was in Democrat states. And then since then, the Democrats have been suing and they've been judge shopping, trying to knock out Republican seats around the country, which they've been successful with in front of liberal judges. And so this has really been about leveling the playing field and putting Republicans back in the position that they should be just based on a proper application of the census.
So failed Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, who you defeated once, you were also the architect behind that. She has this to say. She calls this cheating. Listen to this.
They're basically backdooring racism through politics. They know the power of the people, and it scares them. Because if they thought on merit that they would win, they wouldn't have to resort to this cheating.
Your response?
Well, that's rich coming from someone who's from a state that has been gerrymandered for many, many years, who has a quote-unquote independent redistricting commission, which was populated by progressives who turned around and said all of a sudden they'd become Republicans, and that's how they filled the Republican slots. You know, something like 40+%, 45% maybe, of voters in California voted for President Trump. And of their 52 seats, you know, they've got only 3 that are great opportunities for Republicans to win after the redistricting. And before then, it was only about 8 or 9. So this is a ridiculously gerrymandered state, and that's true all around the country in blue states. I mean, look at a state like Massachusetts. Hasn't had a Republican member of Congress in 30 years, even though it's a state that is frankly less blue than a state like Tennessee is red. So Democrats are complete hypocrites on this. They're just mad that we're finally fighting fire with fire, and frankly, we're winning.
And I want our viewers to meet some of the Democratic candidates and nominees across the country. Here's their messaging this time around. Listen to this, James.
Was the first one to say that we must defund and dismantle Trump's ICE.
Phil's just announced that the pride flags are going back into Phil's locations.
So my Ojibwe name is Gigi Weweda, which means speaks in a loud and clear voice woman.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children who showed up yesterday at the state capitol.
What's your assessment? This is who you're up against.
That's the Democrat Party in a nutshell right there, Kaylee. They are woke, weak, and way too liberal. Republicans are obviously the party that wants to cut taxes. They want to secure the border. They want to protect people from violent crime in their streets, the party of common sense. And voters only get a binary choice on Election Day. They have the party of wokeness and weakness and being way too liberal, or they have us, who just want steady progress. We want people to have economic opportunity. We want people to be safe in their own country and their own neighborhoods. It's really common sense versus the radical left. Those are the only 2 choices that the voters get in November. And I think that they will ultimately choose Republicans because of that.
You know, one of the things we've seen is that MAGA candidates across the country are winning, and I hear this all the time from voters. They want their elected officials to fight. And we saw in Indiana that 5 of those Indiana senators who opposed redistricting were voted out in their primaries. What's your message to Republicans? Because we sit here every week. The president just tweeted, "Where's the Save America Act? You know, nuke the filibuster." Your message to Republican candidates, that, in my view, they need to have a backbone and fight the way the president does.
Republican voters, particularly primary voters, want their elected leaders to get things done. They do not send people to Washington to do nothing, to go along to get along. They want people who are going to get things done, who are going to move the needle in the right direction that they voted for and move the country in the direction that they want to see. But the truth is, it's not just Republicans. It's voters in the middle, too. They want people that are going to get things done. That's what they want to vote for. And that's an important point, because if Democrats are in charge of the House, or the Senate for that matter, but particularly the House, nothing will get done in Washington. It will be complete gridlock. The Democrats will stop everything. They will block everything. That's all they've tried to do for the last year and a half. They're complete obstructionists, and so the voters are going to have to choose. Do they want complete gridlock? Do they want nothing to be accomplished for 2 years? Or do they want steady progress when they return Republicans to power?
James, final question for you. A person familiar with Jeffrey's thinking, which probably means someone in Jeffrey's office, told Politico, "We are in a blue wave environment that's going to be a knife fight in a phone booth. We're just going to keep finding new opportunities." Is that the way you see it, a knife fight in a phone booth?
I certainly think it's going to be close. This is a close country. We won't know the outcome until Election Day. But at the end of the day, Hakeem Jeffries is called Hakeem High Tax Jeffries for a reason. He's a radical who's propped up by the radicals. He's going to take the country in the wrong direction. He's going to take it further left. He's governed by the left flank of his conference. No matter what he says, no matter how many primaries he plays in, he caters to the progressives, the left wing, who are going to set us back and are frankly out of step with where voters are in this country. And I don't think that they are going to put him in charge once they realize that that's really the choice that they have. And we'll make that very clear to them between now and November.
James Blair, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.